hats, and so all right. So I want to, oops, something happened to my mouse. So thank you everybody for coming here today, joining us. My name is Christine and I work for the Association of Vermont Credit Unions. And I would like to thank you all for signing up for our 5-part series, which we hope will give you weekly access to information that will be helpful to you regarding your credit union sector. This will be your opportunity to ask our guest speakers any questions you want, and if you have a specific topic you want to discuss, let us know and we will do our best to discuss it. Today's topics will be from InfoSight, Human Emergence Network, and the Credit Union Network. We're going to begin today with Brooke from the Credit Union Network, who is the Vice President and Webinar Network Coordinator. Thank you so much, Brooke, for joining us today. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get started with that. Okay, so now hopefully you can all see, I actually just brought up our website. Today, because you are small credit unions, I really wanted to go over, my name is Brooke. One of my, the co-host is Larry Williams. He's our CEO, and we partner with Vermont and CCUA for their webinar training. But a big deal for us was last March, we updated our website. With that, it now includes a user portal, access to our blog, our podcast, and then you can get to our social media from here. As a small credit union, I know that your training dollars are limited. So I'm hoping and praying, I guess you could say, that our new website is going to help you. So when you come to our website and create an account, you end up with a user portal. In that user portal, your on-demand webinar purchases will remain for all eternity, and you can share them. So you can share your webinar purchase with any other employees within your credit union. And there is a small credit union discount with your partner association. So whether that be CCUA or AVCU, if you purchase an on-demand webinar, there is a discount for that on-demand webinar, and that carries over into the series purchases also. So if you purchase the on-demand of a series, you also get see that discount. There's not a discount on the live or the bundled, but those bundle is already discounted. That includes the live and the on-demand access. So if you come into your user portal and I'm going to just do this one to make it easy, the interest rate risk management webinar, and you wanted to share that, you would just click share webinar, enter first name, last name, email address, and share that with your coworkers. There is not an additional charge for that. I'm hoping that you are all using that. If you are using our webinars, because that is huge. For no additional cost, you can share the live or the on-demand access. As long as your credit union purchased it, you can share it with any other employees. Also on our website is our sales and specials tab. There are currently, I believe, 3 complimentary webinars out there. Those are free. All you have to do is add them to your cart, check out. They're in your user portal. And then we do go over the save with subscription tokens, and I'll kind of touch on that in just a few minutes just to kind of look at it a little bit more. But there's also sale webinars. Any of these webinars are 25% off. So they are webinars that are on demand only. They've already happened. They're in there. So you can always click on those and then, you know, kind of get an idea of what is in there, but those are 25% off automatically. That discount is applied in your cart. And then we have subscription tokens. So subscription tokens allows you to use your training budget at the beginning of the year and then just purchase webinars as you go. With subscription tokens, you can purchase 12 if you want. It'll tell you how much you save. And it'll tell you the cost. And then those remain until you use them. So if I purchase 12 today and I only use 4 of those, there's still going to be 8 in my user portal next year when I log in, or the year after that if I don't use any next year. They don't expire, so they're always there. And you can see there's the token discount. So it kind of gives you an idea of how many. We have quite a few of the smaller credit unions that just purchase a large bundle and then just use them as they go. And that token code can be shared. So it might be, if you're the purchaser, it'll be in your user portal, but you can write that down and share it with another employee of your credit union so that they can purchase it in their user portal and still use your token code. Larry, do you want to jump in here and kind of go over our social media?
You bet. So we have social media presence primarily on LinkedIn. We do a lot of feeds on LinkedIn. So if you're on our email list and you do have a LinkedIn account, chances are you're going to see us pop up on your LinkedIn feed from time to time, and which is an opportunity, another opportunity to purchase webinars from there. A lot of times you'll see some, we'll just do some flash sales. So we'll take a webinar and put it out on LinkedIn just to kind of see how it's getting what kind of reaction it's getting. And you might get a 10 or a 15 or 25% discount by purchasing it from LinkedIn. So keep your eye on that too. And if you haven't followed our LinkedIn page, it's you can do that pretty easily just by heading there, just doing a search for us on LinkedIn. You can click on our link at the bottom of our social media section as well, and follow that as well. Kind of gives you an idea or gives you an opportunity to get some sales and specials. Also importantly on that is Brooke earlier, she mentioned that we have a blog where we have some white papers, we have some things that some news articles, and we also do some podcasts. And so every now and then we'll take a speaker that has a really hot topic, and let's say it's a really important topic to credit unions, big and small, and they are going to do a webinar on that. What I'll usually do is try to see if they'll spend 10 or 15 minutes with me or one of the staff here in a Q&A type session where we'll be able to ask them questions about, what does this regulation mean? What does this thing mean to credit unions coming down the pike? How can they respond to it? How can they prepare for it? So you'll get some tidbits of information there too, especially prior to the webinar. So that's always a good thing to check out. Some of the white papers and things like that we have on there that's all free resources that you can use. It's all categorized from anything from, lending down to security, fraud, technology, things like that. So feel free to peruse that. You can access our podcasts directly from our site, or you can pretty much get them from anywhere you get your podcasts, whether it's Apple or Spotify or wherever you do get your podcasts. You can find us out there. So definitely check those out. We try to make that useful. I think our motto around here is really anything we try to do for credit unions, we try to add value to you. So yeah, we sell webinars and we partner with your associations and leagues to do that. But anything we do on social media or outside of that, we try to make sure that we add value to you, so you get something you can take away from that and actually use in your credit union. So is that what you were hoping for, Brooke?
Exactly what I was hoping for.
Cool.
I did want to go over really quick, when you are in our website, if you have not created a user portal, I'm actually just going to sign out of mine. So you will see a page like this, and you would just go down here and create an account to see that small credit union. And like I said, this does vary by partner. We partner with a lot, but I'm just going to pick Vermont. I'm hoping Christine doesn't mind that. You would pick Vermont and it'll automatically populate with the association. And then you would click this credit union under 50 million in assets, and then go ahead and create your account. And that will get you that small CEU discount on the on-demand webinars. Also, I encourage you to please pick your categories for emails. We do send emails. That is how we market, is email marketing. But you picking your categories ensures that you are seeing webinars on training topics that are relevant to you and not just seeing all of our training. We do a lot, 250 new webinars every year. I think we're actually at 170 this year so far. We're actually just about to add 5 more webinars. So those increase. We're currently are always adding, always looking for something that's, coming up, a regulation that just hit. So we're always adding those. But if you pick your categories, it ensures that those emails that you see are only relevant to you. Senior management probably doesn't want to see frontline and new accounts. The directors don't need to see all of that other stuff. So please pick your categories so that you're seeing the emails that you need to see and not just seeing all of it.
And that's one thing we're very aware of, the fact that everybody's email boxes are full, and we don't want to be a hindrance on that. So even if you don't pick your preferences, the maximum emails we'll ever send is 2 a day. And now that seems like a lot, but again, that's if you or just don't have the time to go in, the 2 or 3 minutes it takes to go pick your preferences. The maximum you'll ever see from us is 2 a day. And that's a promise we make. No matter how many webinars that we have on our calendar, you're just going to get 2 a day at the most.
And if you see it on our calendar or on our website, it's available for purchase. So we are doing the Green Book and Government Payments webinar is today. But last week we did SARS and cybercrime. You can click on that and it will only let you purchase the on-demand. There is like a whole explanation there, but if you have any additional questions, please reach out to us. We do have a chat feature down in the corner. I wasn't sure how that was going to come up since, I administer that. But I have a chat feature, so you can definitely chat with our staff instead of calling if that works easier for you. But you're going to get a live person whether you call or chat. There is no robot there. So we have a small staff, does a lot. Does anybody have any questions or?
If anyone has any questions and they'd like to put them in the chat, we can read them out to Brooke and Larry.
Brooke, this is Christine. I just want to say that I didn't know that you guys had some white papers. And so I'm excited to read some of your white papers and, make sure I let other people know about that. That's nice to see. It's a nice feature.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And Christine, if you ever have things out there that you would like to have us promote on our LinkedIn page or our social media, we also have Facebook and Twitter or X, I guess now it's called.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have all that stuff too. So if there's something you want to get out to our followers, feel free to send it to Brooke, and we'll get it promoted on our site too as well. So on our social media.
Yep.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It doesn't look like we have anybody putting anything in the chat right now. But, I will say that this is, some great information so that our credit unions, if they want a certain topic they're looking at for regulatory, this is a great tool to go to, and it will be very helpful for them.
Perfect. And I will let you all know that Christine was going to get me the attendance list, and I'm going to add a token to anybody that did attend. So you will have the opportunity to go essentially purchase a webinar for free after this.
Thank you, Brooke.
Thank you very much. Thank you both, Brooke and Larry. We are going to move on to our next speaker, Michael Zwell, who is the Managing Director of the Human Emergence Group. He's also the CEO for the Foundation of the Realization of Human Potential and Professor of Transitional Coaching at Maharishi International University. And if I screwed up that name.
Maharishi International University.
Thank you very much for the assist there. He's also a certified coach for the Great Game of Business and past president of the Graduate School Alliance for Education and Coaching. Mike is globally recognized for his competency and talent management expertise, who has helped hundreds of organizations achieve their potential and fulfill their mission by deepening their people. He has much experience implementing succession planning and leadership development at credit unions and other financial institutions across the United States. Mike, I'm going to pass the floor over to you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Hold on a second and get this. Okay, so I want to take a few minutes, this is not a lot of time, but to give you just sort of an overview of succession planning. So I'm very deeply committed and have worked for basically my career in focusing on how to develop people and how to develop people at work. And I have been working with a credit union for 6 years now, one of the larger ones, around succession. And I've I have a history of doing this where, that overall question of, how do we prepare an organization and prepare people for people moving on? We're still at a point where there are approximately 10,000 baby boomers retiring every day. And it's an issue for every organization, and with smaller credit unions, it's an issue even more when there's nobody to take over. But we're thinking about succession planning not just for the CEO, but imagine that you're really looking at development for every person, and ultimately that's what we're after, is making it a win for everybody. Where why should I work there? Because I'm going to be better tomorrow than I am today. And imagine that for everybody in the organization, no matter what their role. So, what is succession planning? Identifying, developing, preparing employees for key roles. Now, in a lot of most organizations, and certainly small organizations, there's not necessarily another place for a person. What we're after is developing them so that they are more satisfied, they're making a better contribution, and there's more meaning for everybody involved. So it's a win-win-win. So the credit union gets better because you're doing a better job of, the employees are improving, the employees are getting better, the team is functioning better, and it serves your members better. Which is why, the reason for existence is the serving of your members. So, the vision is we're going after where you and your team, understand what it is that makes people good at what they do. Your team knows that you're investing in them. And they're committed to develop themselves in the competencies that will improve them and their careers. The result of that is that my thing's not moving forward. Hold on a second. The result is that, members of your team continually improve. So, why do people come to work? Well, we come to work, it's not just to get paid. If we're coming to get paid, that's the losing proposition. I want to be more satisfied, have more meaning. One of the things that happens in the world today is that we basically live we develop ourselves and we build relationships. It's in work that we live these days. They become more effective at what it is they do. I coach actually about 60 people now in a credit union. And there are all kinds of issues that come up for people that have to do with relating to other staff members, relating to their bosses, all kinds of issues around dealing with upset members over, why can't I do this? Why can't I get this car loan? Whatever those issues are, and how you deal with them. So there's a lot of sort of capability that people can be developing for themselves to have more meaningful experience and get better and better at what they do. In addition, they will be better prepared for their next job. And this is clearly, it's an issue at all credit unions, but particularly for smaller ones where, you don't have a natural progression for a lot of people. So people will not be thinking about moving up. So what you want to be doing is be developing people in their current jobs so that they are ready to move up for their next ones. And when that happens, when you do have openings, then internal candidates are prepared. And it will give you a competitive advantage in the marketplace, not necessarily, it's not with other credit unions particularly, but in the marketplace, you become an employer of choice, why people should want to come to work there. And in today's marketplace, that's really important to be able to have a place that employees want to come and want to work. So I'm going to give you an example with CEFCU, which is Large credit union, 25th largest credit union, 900 employees, headquartered in western central Illinois. Hold on a second. Where when we started working with them 6 years ago, there were issues that there were leaders going to retire, and question, is the next generation ready? And the belief that they weren't necessarily going to be ready for it. So we put a whole program together for people to take people to the next place. And the solution that we came up with, and by the way, the reason I'm going through this is that it's applicable to any size organization. So you don't have to be a big organization to do this. And the more you develop your people, the more successful you're going to be as an organization. So the first thing is determine what are the most important leadership competencies. And I'll talk for a second about what competencies are. Then you assess the people. With them, we took the top 41 leaders and we assessed them on those competencies. We had them all create development plans for themselves, individual development plans based on them and where they were and what the next step for their own personal development. Have each one focus on improving one competency and then providing people with coaching. So we did that, and the result was, you need to work with people a long time to actually see the benefit. Well, 3 years ago, the CEO actually retired. The COO became the CEO. The head of lending became the chief operating officer. The VP over business services became the head of lending, and so on. It kept moving. So the people moved up throughout the entire organization. So we have an example where this actually worked. People changed, people got better, and the program actually is continuing throughout the organization. We have somebody entering the waiting room.
Mike, we do have a question.
Okay.
Did you say that managers identify their own training plan?
Yes, I did. We're in a world today where IT is the extreme example. Nobody knows what those people need. So people actually, but actually there it was in conjunction with their manager. So it's a mutual process of looking at, okay, what is it I most need to develop to become that next most effective person, next most effective leader. And so they're generally, people chose for themselves, because it doesn't work for you to tell me what I need to do. I mean, that's input for me, but if it's not something that I think I need to do, how committed am I going to be to doing it? So it is an interactive process, but I need to decide how I'm going to develop.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question. So how can you apply this to you? So I used to have a search firm, and I have a doctorate in anthropology from my youth, and so I decided to look at the social science research, and discovered this research about competencies. And competencies are defined as what are the behaviors and traits that differentiate high performers. So what is it that makes people good at what they do? And I was shocked to discover that there's a whole body of research about it. I didn't know anything about it. And as you look at it, there are specific competencies that are, in general, for almost any profession, help people be more successful. And these would include influence, achieving results, initiative, teamwork. So these are the kinds of things, and that so one of the things that I learned early on was that it's not sufficient to say, I'm going to get better at initiative. I was actually talking to a company, this is a long time ago, and this woman, I was talking to a woman there, and she said, oh, I'm really good at initiative. I said, really, what does that mean to you? And she said, well, every time my boss asks me to do something, I do it. And she really believed that was initiative. So what needs to happen to have it be more meaningful is to actually look at what are the behaviors that are associated with it. So examples of behavioral anchors for initiative. So people who are strong at initiative, they take advantage of opportunities. They identify what needs to be done. They take action. They overcome obstacles and take responsibility for things. When you put behaviors in with the competencies, then it becomes meaningful to people about what does that mean? Oh, so that means, and notice these are all behavioral. There's nothing about attitude. The second you talk about attitude, you can say, well, I don't think you're not motivated. Oh, yes, I am. No, you're not. Yes, I am. It doesn't go anywhere. You need to focus on behaviors and then get to examples. And so you can go from this once you have that, and then you can rate people on it, and people can rate themselves. And I generally use a 5-point scale going from you don't really demonstrate it to even the most challenging situations, you demonstrate the behaviors and the competency. And then you can do an evaluation. And we want to be doing this because everybody wants to be good at what they do. Now, in terms of the credit union I deal with on a not quite a daily basis, but certainly every week I talk to different people. And we're talking about people out of, they grew up in towns of 2,000 people, farming communities. We're not talking about an urban, sophisticated area. They all want to get better at what they do. So it's really helping people see possibilities for themselves. And then the next step in this is that, the simple way is you just assess annually. You have people assess themselves and their managers assess them and choose one competency to develop. So you want to keep this thing alive and going so that, imagine everybody's working to improve one thing about themselves. Is that going to make the credit union better? Absolutely. So people are more satisfied. You have, better performance. Members are served better. And then when you have opportunities and when you have needs, you can have people who are more prepared to take on and fill the opportunity. So I just wanted to give you this overview of succession planning and employee development. So for those of you in positions of leadership, you can make a big difference among everybody who works there, and you're going to be serving your members better, which is why we're all here. So that's a brief introduction into what we're talking about: employee development and succession planning.
Thank you, Mike. I do have a question. When there's just a small group of people that work at a credit union, do you find it a lot harder to have the credit union employees grow within the credit union, or is it easier?
I don't think it matters. I work with, I have organizations that I work with that have 10 employees or 20 employees. And it really is about caring about people. If you care about your people and really look at, we're all trying to, adapt to this world that we're in. And, we come to work, we spend more time at work than we do any other place.
Yeah.
And we want to have meaningful lives. And so no matter what I'm doing, how can I have more meaning doing it? How can I have better relationships with the rest of the staff? If I'm if I'm member facing, how do I have better relationships with members? Credit unions are service organizations. We're here to serve the members. How can I serve the member? I mean, it's and want to create that kind of culture and expand that kind of culture so that we're all here because it's important to us.
Now, we have some people who actually work remotely. So is it harder to find, that person who can grow in the organization remotely? Or do you think that they can prove themselves by all the actions that they do and how they handle their workload?
So, so first and foremost, I work remotely. And I work with a lot of people in the credit union that work remotely. They're still living their lives, they're still interacting. When I talk to IT people who are like, the people don't go into IT because they want to talk to other people, right? But everybody has challenges. And if we don't have challenges, that's more of a problem.
Right.
And people who work remotely. Now, I'll tell you, there is a problem, particularly for young people who work remotely.
Why do you say that?
And that problem, and the research shows this, is that they're not getting the kind of mentorship in that remote situation. So that's for organizational leaders, it's something to deal with and something that, you want to make sure people have contact, because there is a problem in just being isolated when you're remote, and it needs to be, if you really want to develop people and have people, really, really be happy. I mean, you want to make sure people have enough social contacts. We now have, like, we're on Zoom now, we have this audio visual means of staying in touch with people. And the organizations that do this well, you have daily contact with people who are remote. You have group meetings regularly with people who are remote. You make sure that they feel connected, that they're emotionally and socially connected with the organization and not just out there by themselves.
Thank you.
So I have a question, just to go back on one of the slides that you have, assess the changes annually. Do you find that you have credit unions or any of your clients that are doing it more quarterly and then reviewing annually?
Yes, absolutely. And particularly in the, in the member centers or branches, where you have, I mean, I know a lot of these credit unions here have one branch, but even there, meeting with people at least quarterly and sometimes even monthly, just to touch base of how it's going, that can bring out those kinds of issues. So a formal one, at least annually, you can do it formally more often than that. The more contact with people, the better. More you're finding out what, how's it going, what are the challenges you have, and so on. And there's a whole informal, process of just seeing people and talking to people that's really important. So absolutely.
The credit unions that are, implementing these changes and kind of moving those folks internally up the ladder, are they making this part of their annual goals and tying it to their annual reviews, or are they just selecting the folks that they feel have the potential to be more than what they are actually doing?
It's every employee.
It's every employee. Okay.
The formal part of the process that you're looking at both what's performance and you're looking at competencies and how do you want to develop yourself. It creates a whole developmental culture.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Mike? Feel free to put them in the chat. We'll give you a minute or two before we move on to our next speaker. And Mike, if you have any closing words of wisdom while we're waiting for people to put anything into the chat, feel free to.
Yeah, one thing, it's as rewarding to the leader as it is to the other employees. To at the end of the day, to look in the mirror and say, I help my people be better today than they were yesterday, is a very worthy way of being.
It doesn't look like we have anything coming through the chat, so we are going to move on to our last speaker of the day, who is Gloria Ledoux, and she's
By
the
the way, I have another meeting that I need to go to, so thank you all very
Oh,
much.
thank you very much, Michael. Take care. So Gloria is the CEO of League InfoSight and CEFCU Risk Intelligence. Both companies provide compliance and risk management solutions to credit unions nationally through the Credit Union League and Association partners. Gloria's background includes over 20 years in the financial industry, and she is passionate about compliance and regularly provides compliance training to credit union employees, officials, and examiners. Gloria also serves on the board of directors for a local credit union, CEFCU Vendor Management, and for CEFCU Risk Intelligence. She's received her Bachelor's of Science degree from Northern Michigan University and a Master's of Science degree from Pace University. Welcome, Gloria.
Thank you, Dean, and welcome everybody. Thanks for having me. I do the job that nobody wants to do, compliance, right? All of you are on here, and I'm hoping to make your lives a little easier when it comes to resources that you have at your fingertips. All my friends are like, so what exactly do you do? Even though I've told them 50 times, it's like, yeah, review regs, interpret regs, write resources, all that really good stuff. So anyway, that's the joke in my friend group. Nobody knows what I do, nor do they care, because it's kind of boring stuff. But I'm going to try to make it interesting for you. I think what's important, especially as a small asset size credit union, is to know where to find resources. You guys have a lot on your plate, but yet you still have to comply with the same regulations as our larger partners, okay, our larger credit unions. So I think it's very, very important that you guys take advantage of some of these resources that your leagues or associations, they're providing it as a member benefit, right? And so you guys really, if you're not taking advantage, you're not empowering yourself on where to go, where to learn. I'm hoping that will change after this session. So two tools I want to talk about to start with, and if we have some time afterwards, I can dive in and show you guys where to go, how to access them, just navigate them a little bit. But the two tools that I really want to spend the most time talking about are InfoSight and Policy Pro. Again, member benefits for you guys if you are members of your association, your respective association. And so InfoSight, I do a lot of board training. And so this applies to not only board members, your volunteers, but, your employees as well that maybe are not, super versed in compliance knowledge. A lot of people, when you ask, well, where do you go to get information? Where do you go if you have a question on a power of attorney, or you have a question on, a deceased member? Where are you getting this? Hopefully, maybe you're reaching out to your association, which is fantastic. But some people say, oh, I just Google it. I Google it and I see what happens and see what answers that I get. And so that, raises 50,000 red flags for me, because there's a lot of information out there that is not reliable. You can't always trust the Google. And so what I always tell my board members, and again, same for employees as well, make sure that if you guys are researching, you're researching a source that is reliable. So instead of using the Google, log into InfoSight. Again, member benefit, every single employee, every board member should have access to this system that you can, gain through your league association website. If you guys go on there, you'll find a link for InfoSight. You guys need to get access because again, how this site is broken up is we have different channels covering different areas of operation for the credit union. So for example, there's a lending channel, there's an accounts channel. And not only does it contain sort of federal regulations that you need to comply with, there's also state content. Okay, so we have to comply with federal laws, we have to comply with state laws. And so our league and association partners help us maintain that state data. So you guys have members that are in different states. If you have branches that cross different states, you guys have to be versed and have to know where to go to access those state laws to make sure you're complying. If you have to sheet an account and your member moved to Florida, you have to comply with Florida escheatment laws. So again, know where to go to access that information. We're going to link you directly to the Florida state law if that's where your member is. Same with branches. You can, again, branches in different states, different laws that are going to apply to them from a state perspective, know where to go to access that database. So tons of information kind of broken down by a summary of the topic We have FAQ, so if there's a lot of frequently asked questions on that topic, checklist to make it easy so you can understand if you're, in compliance. And then we also link a lot of really cool tools and resources in that system. So we have True Stage risk alerts that are linked. So you have to still be a True Stage member, but again, we can link those in there. So if it's, an applicable risk alert, it'll be in our system. And we've also partnered with some external third parties to provide you guys with the account insurance estimator and the check deposit notice generator. And so the account insurance estimator helps you estimate share insurance for your members. So especially with the bank failures, a lot of members were coming in wanting to know, oh my gosh, are my funds safe? What's going to happen? And let's face it, share insurance is not super easy to calculate. If you have under 250,000, sure, that's pretty easy. Your insurance up to 250,000. But if your members have over that amount, and want to know how their funds are protected, this tool provides a very easy way for you to show them how they're protected. And it allows you some resources to open up additional accounts, like trust accounts, like accounts with beneficiaries, where you can really maximize that share insurance coverage. So again, depending on how you're structuring that account, the member can have up to $2 million of coverage with your institution, depending on how those accounts are set up. So super, super easy tool for you to use, your, frontline staff to use, so you guys can really explain share insurance coverage to the member based on account type. And the check deposit notice generator, we're seeing, you guys are probably seeing it as a small institution as well. The SAR data is showing us that check fraud has more than doubled from 2001 to 2022. With the check washing and some of the fraudulent schemes that are happening, I expect the 2023 numbers, once they are available, to be even higher. So I think we're on this trend where, criminals are realizing it's pretty easy to make checks that look real. And it's hard for us as an institution to really identify that. And so we have this check deposit notice generator tool that what your frontline staff can do is have a resource to look, what are all the possible issues that could happen with the check, post-dated, anything, and allows you to have some ammunition to not only do some training to understand what check issues could even be out there, but also to give you different opportunities. So, you can decline a check. That's a service that you provide to your members. You can decline that check. You can take it and send it for collection. So, hey, member, you're a good member. We're going to take this for you, but we're not going to give you the funds because we're going to send it back to collection through the institution that's issued on. And hopefully it comes back, but we're not sure. So we want to protect you. We want to protect us. So again, a really cool tool that gives us different options to deal with checks that could have potential issues and save us money. And then the last thing that we just added is a trusted contact information kit. So I don't know if you guys have been hearing a lot about this, especially in your smaller shops, but the CFPB, NCUA is asking financial institutions to basically provide their members with an opportunity to establish a trusted contact. So I may be a vulnerable adult, I may be elderly, maybe I can establish a trusted contact that does not have access to my account at all, but somebody that if you, credit union, are trying to reach me and you can't reach me, that you have authorization to call, my sister, and my sister could say, oh, let me check on Gloria. I haven't heard from her. So it's somebody that doesn't have account access, but that can help prevent fraud. Or if I have somebody rogue that's making transactions on my account and you, credit union, are like, this doesn't seem right with Gloria's account. I'm not sure what's going on. Let me call her trusted contact to see if, maybe she has a new financial advisor. Maybe she has let me see if this is legitimate. So the thought process for the regulatory agencies is this is going to sort of alleviate some of that fraud, the elder abuse that's been really rampant lately. So again, resources in there for you guys to develop a script, a procedure, a form, a policy. All that content is in there and available for you guys to utilize. Because the agencies never gave us any guidance on that, we did contract with an external law firm to develop all of these resources. So again, just like everybody on this call, it has been saying, really working to provide you guys with valuable resources, especially for our smaller credit unions, again, that are kind of held to the same standard as the larger institutions. You guys really need valuable resources that you can access really quickly. So I encourage you to please check out InfoSight. If you are not already on InfoSight, have your board sign up for it so they can really educate themselves on the board packet and the policies you're presenting. So Policy Pro, another member benefit for you guys. Again, this has over 240 model policies. I can guarantee if there's a policy that you need, Policy Pro has it, and or we will write it. If it's a new policy, new venture that credit unions are going to sort of take a path down, it really is to our benefit to work with you guys to create something. We just created a policy on artificial intelligence usage by the credit union. In fact, we worked with a credit union over in your region to establish that policy. So again, something to be cutting edge, to be out there. So when you guys are ready to venture down this path, make sure you don't write any policy from scratch. Again, these are models. They do require customization, but at least you have a base out there that you can utilize that's based on law, regulation, based on federal guidance, based on best practices that we've put together. So it's also a full policy management system. So you are able to make edits, you're able to publish, you're able to, again, give as many people at your credit union, your board members, access as you want. There's also the ability to make assignments. So if I want my, my second in command to review the policies that I redlined because I need a second pair of eyes on that, I can assign that over to that person, sends an email, links them to where they need to go, and again, provides sort of that accountability through the system. So really cool systems that you guys have access to, again, as member benefits. So please, please take advantage of them. Again, accessible through your association's websites. All right, Recovery Pro. So now I'm going to kind of dive into, some of the resources that do have a cost to them. But you can see if you're under 50 million, it's $249 annually. So we really work as, we are owned. Cooperative is one of our owners. Vermont is one of our partners. We are owned by leagues. We are a collaborative entity, both League InfoSight and CU Risk Intelligence. So everything that we build, everything that we create is for credit unions with that collaborative model, understanding small asset size credit unions. Most of us have worked in credit unions. And so our pricing is going to be sort of based on asset size. So we can make sure that everybody is getting the tools that they need at a cost-effective price. So Recovery Pro utilizes the exact same technology as CU Policy Pro. So if you are at all familiar with CU Policy Pro, Recovery Pro will be very easy for you to utilize. The only difference is we've built content, model content for the credit union to build a comprehensive business continuity plan. So again, something that our examiners are expecting, especially depending on the region where you guys are hit. I know you have floods. There's a lot of disasters that happen, unfortunately. How are you going to maintain your continuity of business? How are you going to get up and running? What needs to come up first? What are you going to do? What's your plan? Have you tested it? This is an expectation. This is a regulatory requirement, but a lot of people don't know where to start. A lot of people don't know how to build something together. So again, similar to Policy Pro, we've developed tons of just model content for the credit union to walk literally step by step in how to create their plan. Where do they need to start? Where do they need to go? And then again, this is now accessible through a website that's hosted elsewhere. So you have security in that it's not something that you're hosting. If your systems all go down, it's an external source that you can access your plan. And then again, you can publish and break it up by area of operation. So lending people can access their plan, accounting can access their plan, and then you can have a comprehensive plan. So again, really, really cool resource available for you guys. Again, if you're under 50 million, it's $249 a year. And you can have as many people gain access as you want. Really, really super cool resource at your fingertips here. So now for compliance management, there's a couple different options for you guys. So just consider this, that there are full service sort of solutions. So if you're having an issue, let's just say in your lending area, you've had an examiner come in, you're having some challenges, whether it's your disclosures, your process, whatever it is. Affirmex provides sort of an independent review to go over different operational areas. They also do audits. So your required audits, your BSA, ACH, SAFE Act, and website review. So they package audits to be very, very cost effective. Again, this is all based on asset size. So if you're small asset size, your price point is going to be a lot lower. But really, again, somebody external and independent coming in to assist with whatever sort of regulatory compliance risk that you have at your institution. It can be full service compliance management across the organization, or it can be specific to a particular area that maybe you need help or you need to focus on. And CompliSight is more of a self-service tool. So you need a compliance management system, you need a complaint management system, but you want to do it yourself. You don't need anybody to help you, just need the technology, you need the resources. That is where CompliSight comes in, again, at a very lower price point than the full service model. But again, it gives you that technology, it gives you the resources, it breaks down the regulations in a way that it's easy for you guys to understand, to cross-check, to make sure you're complying. And then you have a system that sort of aggregates all that. Same for complaints, aggregating complaints, making sure you're responding in a time period that's, required either by regulation or standards that you set internally. Being able to link all the content, if you're doing research and whatever you need, just putting everything in one central spot. A lot of us, in the past have had paper files of everything. Trying to move away from that, again, from a business continuity perspective, just maintaining that stuff online, and that system helps you do that. And then last but not least, one of the other sort of tools that we utilize is CU vendor management. So it's CUVM, they sort of changed their name. But again, a full service type of model. Again, what do you guys have time for? How are you going to allocate your resources? You need to manage your third-party vendors. What kind of resources do you have to do that? Is it more cost-effective to have another company sort of take over that review for you? So essentially, CUVM is going to be sort of managing all your high-risk vendors. They're going to be reaching out. They're going to be getting the due diligence documents. They're going to be doing that initial review and helping you manage your program. So there's different levels of support, again, for CUVM. But giving you guys all these resources, and I know you're not going to go out and buy all of them, but what we hate to hear is that somebody says, oh my gosh, I didn't know that you had this business continuity planning tool. I just went out and paid $10,000 for that. I wish I would have known. And so I think the thought process with these webinars is to really get in front of you guys the options that you have. Not that you need to purchase everything or you need it right now. But if ever something happens and you decide, oh, I really do need a technology for business continuity planning, or I really do need a technology for vendor management, you guys know that your league and association offers you resources to be able to do that. Again, cost-effective pricing because of our ownership structure. So again, nothing new here, just sort of security, safety protocols. Everything's maintained, everything is stored. Limited access depending on your, your role at the credit union. So again, allowing examiners, they love to see this. They love to see the reviews conducted. That's the same across all of our products. So I'm going to exit out of this. I'm going to open it up for questions, and I'm going to switch over so I can show you guys really quick just some features on InfoSight, how to navigate the system. So I'm going to stop for a minute and close this out.
I just want to say, I think that's pretty cool. The trusted contact toolkit.
Yes.
I've never heard of
Yes.
that. So, like, that is really neat to have for people because, I think there's definitely a need for that.
There is, and honestly, Christine, what's been happening is the NCUA and the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, they're doing webinars, they're doing consumer outreach. They're talking to consumers about these programs, and they're expecting our credit unions to have something to be able to assist them, but they have given absolutely no regulatory guidance at all. They've just said, hey, credit union, you should have this for your member. But we're kind of left like, okay, well, we want to do it right and we want to do it compliant. How are we supposed to do that? So that's why we had to partner with a law firm to help us develop those forms and procedures and policy, because, you know, our credit unions want to help our members, but we're at risk too. You know, that is a risk for us. And so we want to make sure that we're doing it as safely as we possibly can. So yeah, it's a cool program. The risk is not doing it right. And so again, if credit unions on this call, if they're thinking about exploring that, please, you know, take a peek on InfoSight and grab those documents and use those as a starting point. So I'm just going to show you guys really quick, and on both of the websites. So if you go on cooperative website, you see under compliance, you guys have access to the different resources there. And again, same right here, compliance InfoSight on Vermont's website. So just so you guys know, that's where your starting point will be. And then once you get on, this is, you know, get access. This is your dashboard. So we talked about the trusted contact. It's kind of right on the front dashboard. And so I want to just show you guys really quick. If we go into, let's say, the accounts area, you guys will see right away where it indicates if there's a state specific topic. This is state content. So, you know, Reg E, that's a federal regulation, but you can see the deceased member issues, you know, that has a state law, that's a state component. And so any one of these topics, if you go into them, let's see, which one should we go into? It's just so hard to decide. Well, let's go into cannabis and hemp related accounts. So once you go into a particular topic, you can see it's pretty much broken the same way, depending on, you know, whatever topic you go into. Generally speaking, you're going to have a summary, you know, so it's going to give you a more detailed summary of whatever the topic is. You'll have definitions, or you'll have FAQs, something that sort of breaks something down a little bit deeper to give you more information. But you'll always have a link to the laws and regulations that are impacting this particular topic. So very, again, important from a state specific standpoint. If you're going in and you're trying to find state content information, this is where you're going to access that state law. And then additional resources. Like I was telling you guys, the Google is not always a safe place to research things. But we do have a search button right up here. So you can see all of these resources that we've aggregated on this particular topic are from reliable sources. They're either federal agencies, they're trusted agencies. That is what we're going to hyperlink within the system. So if you're doing a search for a topic, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get reliable resources that you can depend on. And worst case, you'll get a link to the regulation so you can dive a little bit deeper on that. Let's see, under the resources area, really quick, this is where you can access the account insurance estimator that I was talking about, the check deposit notice generator that I was also talking about. And this is where you get the InfoSight listing by state. So if you click on this InfoSight listing by state, you'll see all the states, all 50 states. So depending on, again, where, you know, where your branches are, or, you know, where you're located, where your member is located, you're going to be able to see the same type of things when you go into the topic. So now instead of Vermont, it's going to show you, oh, we're going to have, you know, Massachusetts related information, right? And so again, laws and regulations, you're going to get the local laws and regulations and the link for that. So again, really, really important tool to utilize. Go ahead, Christine.
This is kind of neat, because if a credit union is looking to add a new product or a program, this would be the place to go, so that they can investigate and see what steps they actually need to get to start offering it to their members.
100%. And same with Policy Pro. Make sure you're going out. If you're starting a new product or service, grab the model policy. Sometimes we have model procedures as well. So definitely a starting point to further develop your program. One other thing I wanted to show you guys real quick under checklists. So a lot of small credit unions maybe want to do some marketing. You know, we have some really cool, depending on what you're actually marketing. If you go, if this is a closed-end consumer loan, but we kind of give you some considerations and checklists based on regulations, some things to consider. Hey, if you're going to say this, make sure you include this. I will give you some examples on, you know, language that you could use as part of your marketing materials. So just take a peek around. Really, a lot of really valuable information out there for you guys to utilize. And again, it's a member benefit. I always tell my board members too, you guys, you should really have access to InfoSight, right? There's tons of resources out there. Board members, they're probably not in the financial industry, right? So you're giving them these board packets to review and to have fiduciary responsibility. You need to empower them with where they can research, you know, on their own if they need to. So yeah, I think just an all around great resource and tool. And I think I'm bumping up on time, so I will stop there because I could just blah blah blah.
No,
all
that was
day.
great. That was very good. I mean, I think everybody hit on the topics that we need to help our credit unions grow, and resources, and especially when the resources are free, that's even better. Does anybody have any questions for Glory? If so, you can put it in the chat. Next week, we won't be having our small credit union meeting because it is a day after a holiday, but then we will be resuming after that. Dean, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I just want to thank everyone for participating. Glory, thank you very much for sharing all of that information. If anyone has any questions for any of our presenters, please feel free to reach out to Christine or myself, and we can get those questions over to Christine. I'm sorry, to Glory, Mike, or Brooke, and get you those answers. We did record today's session, so that will be available on the CCUA site, and I assume Christine will post it out on the association site for Vermont. And just a reminder, 9/12, we will resume our series. It will be the same time, 11 a.m., and you can use the same link. So there's no need to re-register for the series going forward. Again, thank you, everyone. Glory, thank you for your time. Brooke, thank you very much. I appreciate everyone's time this morning, and we look forward to seeing you on the 12th, and enjoy your holiday weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.